This happened just a few months ago at a popular music festival that my friends and I had been looking forward to for nearly a year. We had everything planned, our outfits, our campsite, even which food trucks we wanted to hit between sets. It was supposed to be the highlight of our summer. There were 3 of us, me, Sarah, and Jess. We got there early Friday morning, set up our tent, and immediately got into the vibe. Loud music, sunshine, people dancing everywhere. It felt electric, like nothing could go wrong. By nightfall, things started to blur, in that way they do when you're dancing for hours under flashing lights and letting loose. That's when a group near us passed around a vape pen and told us to try it. I hesitated at first, but they were convincing, friendly. Just another group of festival goers looking to share the experience. I don't remember much after hitting it, just the bass shaking through my chest and the lights stretching in weird, unnatural ways. And then, him. He first appeared at the edge of the crowd. The lights from the stage flashed over his face for only a second, but it was enough. He wasn't dancing, he wasn't moving, just standing there, staring directly at me. I laughed it off, figuring it was some weird visual effect or just a guy tripping out like the rest of us. But as the crowd moved, he didn't. When I walked to a different stage, he was already there. When I ducked into a row of vendor tents to get away, he was leaning against a post, still watching me. No matter how fast I moved, he was always 10 steps ahead. And each time I saw him, I heard a faint beeping. At first, I thought it was part of the music or the stage setup, but it always came right before I saw him. High-pitched, steady, electronic. A slow, deliberate beep, beep, beep. Panic started to creep in. I told Sarah and Jess that I didn't feel right and needed to lie down. But when we got back to the tent, the world felt warped, like sounds were coming from underwater, and I couldn't keep my balance. I laid down and closed my eyes, thinking I just needed to sleep it off. But when I woke up, everything was wrong. It was quiet, too quiet. The thumping bass was gone. So were the voices, the crowds, the music. I stepped outside the tent and saw empty fields, trampled grass, discarded water bottles. The stage was still there, but the monitors were off. There were no people, just the remnants of what had been a massive festival, like I'd slept through the entire thing. My heart started racing. I walked through the empty grounds calling for Sarah and Jess, but there was no answer. The whole place felt like a movie set after filming Wrapped. That's when I heard voices in the distance, muffled but familiar. I followed the sound through a break in the fence and stopped dead in my tracks. On the other side were Jess and Sarah, standing with a police officer. They were crying. The officer was holding up my shirt, the one I wore the night before. I yelled their names. Nothing. I screamed. Still nothing. They couldn't see me. They couldn't hear me. The officer said something I couldn't make out, and Sarah broke down, sobbing harder. My name was on their lips over and over again. "She's still out there," Jess said. "She has to be." I thought I was dead, that somehow I had overdosed or fallen and died alone, and now I was watching the aftermath like some kind of ghost. I collapsed onto the dirt, sobbing. That's when I heard it again. That beat. And then I saw him. Again. The man from the crowd. Standing on the edge of the woods. The same neutral expression, the same unmoving stare. Only now, I wasn't scared. I thought he was here to take me to wherever you go after this. "I'm ready," I whispered. He didn't speak. He just stared. Then came the beeping noise again, louder this time. Beep, beep. He opened his mouth, but instead of words, there was just one loud command. Clear. My whole body jolted like I'd been hit by lightning. And just like that, I opened my eyes. For real. I was in a hospital bed. There was a mask over my face, and I couldn't move. A nurse was standing over me crying. A man beside her. He looked familiar. "Welcome back," he said softly. "You gave us a hell of a scare." He was the man, the one from the festival, but now he was wearing scrubs and a name tag. Dr. Whitaker. "You've been in a coma for 3 days," he explained. "Your friends said you hit something at the festival and collapsed. You were out cold when paramedics arrived. We had to resuscitate you twice. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't a hallucination. The man who'd haunted me in that limbo was the doctor fighting to keep me alive. I don't know what's more terrifying, almost dying, or how close I came to never coming back." I've lived in the same small Tennessee town my whole life, and every summer since I was a teenager, the same music festival rolls through. It's a 3-day thing, sprawled across a field on the edge of town. Everyone calls it Locopalooza. Don't ask me why. It's a stupid name, but it draws in a ton of people. Food trucks, flashing lights, EDM tents, pop-up vendors. The whole thing looks like it belongs in a city 3 times our size. I never actually buy tickets. Not once. Every year there are always people hanging out near the entrances trying to sell extra wristbands. Some legit, some not. But I've always gotten in. This year was no different. I skipped the first day because it rained all afternoon and the lineup was trash. But Saturday? That's when my favorite band was playing. I got there a few hours before the gates opened just to try and beat the crowd. Started walking up and down the parking area, looking for someone pawning off passes. Most people wanted way too much. $300, $400, and weren't budging. I was about to call it and go home when this guy in a ball cap and sunglasses comes up to me and says, "Hey man, you going in?" He looked clean cut, almost too clean. Like one of those guys who just wandered off a tech campus or something. "Had to bail," he said. "Family emergency. You want my wristband? Meet and greet access. You can have it for $50. I didn't even think twice. It looked legit. Neon green with the holographic chip and branding. I Venmo'd him the money, slapped the thing on, and walked straight up to the gate. They scanned it, and that little green light flashed. I was in. At first, everything felt like any other festival. Crowds of drunk 20-somethings stumbling around, the smell of weed and fryer grease thick in the air. I wandered over to the merch booths, thinking I'd grab a shirt before the band started. That's when I noticed 2 security guys standing at the corner of the tent, eyes locked on me. I didn't think anything of it. Maybe I looked like someone they knew, or maybe they were just zoning out. Either way, I didn't do anything wrong. But when I made my way toward the main stage, one of them tapped me on the shoulder. "Hey man," he said, "can you come with me for a second?" I was halfway through saying, "Sure, what's the problem?" when I realized they weren't really asking. The guy on my left grabbed my arm, not hard, but firm, and started walking me toward the far end of the grounds, where one of those portable command trailers sat. Inside, it was cold and way too clean, like hospital clean. They sat me on this hard plastic bench, in a room no bigger than a closet, told me someone would be with me shortly, and shut the door. That was around 6:45 p.m. The band I came to see went on at 8. Nobody came for hours. No explanation. No water. Just me, alone, going over everything in my head, wondering what the hell I did wrong. I thought maybe the wristband was a fake after all. Maybe they thought I stole it or something. Finally, around 10:30, a cop, not security, but an actual cop, comes in and asks me to step outside. He takes me to another part of the trailer and sits me down at this makeshift desk setup. Then he drops a plastic evidence bag in front of me. Inside is the wristband. "Where'd you get this?" he asks. I tell him the whole story. Some guy in a ball cap, family emergency, $50. I even show him the Venmo transaction on my phone. The officer looks me dead in the eyes and says, "Do you know whose wristband that is?" I shake my head. It belongs to a 19-year-old girl named Emily Price. She's been missing since Thursday night. My stomach dropped. I couldn't even form words. I just sat there staring at him. She scanned into the festival that afternoon, but there's no record of her ever leaving. Her friends say she disappeared from their campsite sometime after dark. That's the last anyone saw her, until you showed up with her access band. I tried to explain again, but he cut me off. "We've reviewed security footage. There's no trace of her leaving, but there is footage of a man matching your description purchasing drinks at 2 different booths with her band." Now I was freaking out. I hadn't bought any drinks yet. I didn't even make it to the bar area. That had to be the guy who sold it to me. The cop stared at me, trying to gauge whether I was lying. Then he stepped out of the room. I sat there, replaying every second of the interaction I had with that guy, what he looked like, what he was wearing. But it was all so fast. He was wearing sunglasses and a hat. His voice was low, and I never saw where he went after the sale. Eventually, they let me go, but not before taking my information, a photo, and swabbing my hands for DNA. I walked back to my car in total silence. I didn't even care about the show anymore. I didn't even listen to music on the way home. That was 3 weeks ago. They still haven't found Emily, and no one's been able to track down the guy who gave me her band. Every time I think about it, I wonder, why me? Why did he choose me? Was he trying to pin something on a random person? Was he panicked? Or was he still at the festival, blending in like nothing happened? I can't shake the thought that I might have spoken to a killer that day, or worse, helped him cover something up. Every summer, my friends and I pick one big music festival to hit up. It's kind of become tradition, a chance to cut loose, sleep under the stars, and pretend we're 21 again, even though we're all creeping into our 30s. This year, the festival was about 3 hours from home, a 3-day lineup with a mix of indie and EDM acts, and we were all hyped. We bought the cheapest GA tickets, packed into my buddy Eric's truck, and rolled up Thursday night ready to party. The first 2 days were perfect. The weather held, the crowd was chill, and the music was everything we hoped for. We made friends with the people camping next to us, drank too much, lost our voices screaming along to headliners. That kind of trip. Then Saturday rolled around. That afternoon, we were deep in the crowd watching this up-and-coming house DJ when 2 girls started dancing near us. At first, I didn't think anything of it. This happens all the time at festivals. But these 2, they were different. One of them had platinum blonde hair in tight braids and these mirrored sunglasses that never came off. The other wore glitter all over her chest and arms like armor. They danced closer and closer until they were basically part of our group. The glitter girl leaned in and shouted over the music, "You're cute when you dance stiff like that." I laughed, probably said something awkward back, but she didn't seem to mind. Next thing I knew, we were all dancing together, The music, the sun, the drinks, it all blended into this perfect haze. At one point, my buddy Eric gave me a not-so-subtle nudge and whispered, "Bro, if you don't shoot your shot, I'm cutting you off." When the set ended, the blonde one, I think her name was Jessa or Jenna, something like that, said, "You should come back to our RV. We've got AC and tequila." My friends were grinning like idiots. "You have to go," they said, practically pushing me forward. And I went. I wasn't going to turn down that kind of offer. Their RV was parked in a more secluded part of the lot, behind a few vendor tents. It looked legit. Clean, newer model. Generator humming softly. Inside, it smelled like patchouli and lavender. They had music playing from a Bluetooth speaker, something ambient and weirdly calming. The glitter girl, let's call her Lacey, poured me a drink while Jessa locked the door behind us. We sat, we laughed, and we drank. I remember Lacey sitting next to me, close enough that her leg pressed against mine. She kissed me, slow and soft at first, then more urgent. I barely noticed when Jessa slipped away toward the back of the RV. Then, things got fuzzy. My vision started swimming. I tried to focus on her face, but everything felt like it was melting. I said something like, "What's in this?" But my words slurred and caught in my throat. Lacey just smiled. That smile is the last thing I remember before everything went black. I woke up on the dirt. The sun was already up, burning hot against my skin. I was lying in a patch of flattened grass a few feet away from where the RV had been, but it was gone. No tire marks, no trace, just an empty spot like they'd never been there. I sat up, dizzy, and realized I was only wearing my underwear, my wallet, my wristband, my phone, all gone. Even the hoodie I had tied around my waist. I looked around in a panic, trying to get my bearings, until I finally recognized one of the vendor booths near our camp. When I stumbled back into our site, the guys were already awake. They saw me and erupted in cheers, clapping and shouting stuff like, "What a legend!" and "The man! The myth!" I held up a hand to stop them. "You don't understand." When I explained what happened, their faces changed. Eric cursed under his breath. Jake handed me a water bottle. "We gotta find security," he said. "Maybe they've still got cameras near that lot." But of course, nothing. We found security, filed a report, gave vague descriptions of the girls. But no one had seen them. No one matching those descriptions was registered with the festival either. Just two ghosts with glitter and tequila. I don't know what they used. Probably a mix of benzos and alcohol. I got lucky. I didn't end up in a ditch or worse. But I lost everything valuable I brought, including my trust. Now every time I go to a festival, I'm the paranoid one, watching everyone too closely. And even my friends, who used to tease me about it, have stopped joking. Because the truth is, at these massive festivals, people disappear all the time. And not everyone wakes up in the dirt. Thanks for stopping by the channel. We hope you enjoyed these 3 truly terrifying stories. If you want to hear more just like this one, subscribe to our channel and turn notifications on so you can be reminded when we post a new long-form video every Tuesday at 10 a.m. If you have a story you'd like to hear read on the channel, email it to us at officialnightmarenarratives@gmail.com, and you might just hear your story read in a future episode. Thanks again for listening, and stay spooky, friends. We'll catch you in the next